It took me a long time to realize what spirit actually means. Right? Okay. In our culture, we think that it's a superstition. But our culture is like 400 years old and emerged after we broke free from the Catholic cult. That has completely obscured our epistemology. And I think that the word spirit actually means just operating system for an autonomous agent. And at the time when this word was invented, the only known autonomous agents were people and plants and ecosystems and cities and nation states and so on. And they all have spirits, right? They all have an operating system that makes them coherent. And to be coherent, they also need to have some kind of agency. And the coherence enables that agency in turn. So the plant needs to be coherent with itself. Otherwise, it's not going to work. The parts at the top of the plant need to communicate with the parts of the root of the plant in a particular way. The water that is pumped into the roots needs to reach the crown of a tree and so on, right? And if the water demands of the crown of the tree change, then this needs to affect the roots. So there needs to be all this information processing, which needs to be coherent, right? And this is, in some senses, operating system is the spirit. It's a software. And software is not physical in the sense that it's realized as atoms, or that it is in space. It's a model that you impose on reality. It's a particular way to understand reality, to project it onto macro states. You could say software is very, very specific physical laws. The software in your computer is just a physical law. It doesn't have an identity. It just means if you arrange matter in this and this way with these and these constraints, regardless of where you do it in the universe, as long as the space has these and these properties, the following behavior is going to ensue. Right? This is what software is doing. It's just a physical law that exists in the eye of an observer that tries to make sense of what's happening. And in order to make sense of what's happening in the plant, in the absence of the ability to observe all its molecules, you need to have the software description that describes causal structure at an abstract level. And people have a spirit in a sense, and plants have a spirit. And the question is, can we give AI a spirit, a coherent soul, so to speak, a thing that is relating all its activities in a coherent way and turn it into a coherent agent? And you could also ask yourself, can a civilization have a spirit that turns into a coherent agent? I think if a civilization had a spirit, it would mean that it's planning very far ahead.